Welcome back to the Elevated Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Raylan Davis. Today, I got a really special guest. I say that about all of my guests, but I mean it once again today. So Philip is actually somebody that I pay. He's a friend that I pay to be my friend. But in all seriousness, he runs my whole outbound strategy. Philip's on here because he's a phenomenal copywriter, phenomenal marketer, expert at sales. Again, he sold me. And again, a lot of you learn sales from me. So again, if you can sell me, you're pretty damn good. Let's just jump in. Welcome,
Let's do
Philip.
it. Thank you so much for having me on, buddy. I appreciate it.
Okay, so we were talking about this offline, and I wanted to mention this. I actually posted
Yeah.
something which I think surprised a lot of people. So one of the things I did was I did a reel recently, and I said outbound like sales, like pitching essentially in the DMs, love it or hate it. And I
Right.
said, look, but it would surprise you all to know
Right.
that 90% of my clients come from LinkedIn DMs. 90%. And obviously that's because you were the one that helped me figure out that process. So a lot of people have a negative connotation toward the cold pitch because it doesn't work for a lot of people. But I really like the angle in which you take. And I explained this to a few people is that it's not a pitch like, hey, buy this shit.
Right.
It's an invitation. You tell a story in the cold pitch, and then you ask you open the door to say, hey, are you interested in discussing this further? It's not even like, would you consider it a pitch, first of
Right.
all?
Yes, I mean, obviously, like anytime you're doing an ask, it's it's like a pitch, but it's not your typical sales pitch. But like, let's create some framework here. If you have a business and you need customers, do you want to talk to people that are potential buyers about how you can help them? The answer to that is always yes, right? But people are so used to the B2C in my like B2C, they do this all the time. Buy this, get this, do this, that, get that. Where it's not human, right? It's
Hmm.
very inhumane. And that's where people with a lot of marketers, they're looking at things the wrong way because they had a bad experience. Oh, I don't like this because I worked with a marketing company that did something like this or something in the past, right? Like so it's just about how you approach going into the prospecting, right? Prospecting is everything in your business, and if you're in a startup and you're not prospecting, in my opinion, it's just like you're not really, unless you have a big marketing budget to do ads, to do crazy organic stuff and build like then just prospecting is where it's at. Like that's where I teach all my
Yeah.
clients. Like that's what I do with like everybody. I'm like, look, we got to have a solid prospecting campaign. We got to talk to people every day about like how you can help transform what they're doing. Period.
I think too, like people forget this, right? Is that so what we're doing again with the outbound strategy is we're trying to find the 1%, the
Right.
1% of individuals that know they have a problem
Right.
and know that they need someone to solve that problem. So the reason why I do it still today, even though all the gurus are telling you not to do it, right? Although I will say this, you have to do it the right way. There is a wrong way
Right.
to do it, and I've done it the wrong way before, right? That's how I knew that your strategy would work for me because, again, I've done it the wrong way. But
Right.
with saying that though, it while we were ramping up and this new offer we had, I wanted a way to obviously bring in the prospects to us while we ramp up the marketing. Now, eventually, what happens is you should have both inbound and outbound strategy in
Yes.
any business. And by the way, like it's funny how when I talk about this, they're like, "No, you don't need that," and I'm like, "You clearly have never worked at a corporation before. No
Right.
corporation outside of Tesla, no corporation is like we only do inbound. Like that doesn't exist." And so what happens is you have this curve where you have high months where your marketing's crushing it, and then low months. What should cover the low months is your outbound strategy. But
Yes.
again, people have this negative connotation to it. So I guess what we could start with is maybe like, and then and then in the middle of this, we're probably gonna backtrack. I want to know about how you even got to this point, which is my 3-year-old just walked in the room and said "boo." Um, I thought I locked the door and I didn't. Whatever. We have kids, people. This is the benefit of
Right.
working from home. So here's the thing, right? Is what are some of the what I was saying was I'm going to backtrack. I want to know how you got to where you want to be, where you are now. But on the outbound strategy part, how can you not do it wrong? Because I also noticed something else, and again, I'm throwing a lot at you because I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Yeah.
Is it depends on the platform. because we use the
Yes.
same strategy on Facebook and it sucks. It does not work on Facebook.
Right.
Versus for me, I'm not saying for everybody, because some people are probably, some of your clients are on Facebook probably crush with that strategy. For me, for whatever reason, it doesn't work. On LinkedIn, it crushes. So can you speak to also, when it comes to what not to do, is it platform specific? Is there a copy to it? Like what makes it not work?
What makes it not work is not having a solid offer and transformation and story. So that's what makes it not work, where it's just a very baseline offer. You're like everybody else. There's no relatability to especially revenue. So, I mean, obviously it depends on the offer. We're discussing B2B, right? B2B is very ROI. It's very, how are we gonna help you make more money? In the end, that's what businesses are looking for, right? They're
Mm-hmm.
looking to grow. They're looking to, create more. But as far as like to answer the question, as far as like what's not working, like you have to make sure that your offer is different than a lot of other people, and you have to say it in a way where it is the end result. Okay, so it's like, great. Hey, working with me, we can help you, make an extra $100 to $500,000. That's something that you're open to doing. Not. Hey, I could give you some more sales calls. It's like, well, that's everybody saying that.
Yeah.
Or you see what I'm saying? It's like, what is the end result? People love to sell on processes and not destination. And you definitely want to market on destination because that's what people are in the end of the mind thinking. They're thinking, yeah, I need to make 100,000, or I need to have 25 sales calls booked in my calendar without me, right? I
Mm-hmm.
need to have, right? They're not thinking, oh, I just need some more sales calls. No, like you have to think about whatever your offer is and what the real end result is they're looking for in depth. And the only in a lot of the times, like people, they're too novice in their offer and they have to experience to develop the offer in more clarity. So like if you're not like prospecting and talking to people and doing things revolving around your offer, you're not going to know what people really need. You're not going to know what those things are. And then that's when your offer stays the same and you're just like everybody else and you're just not making it.
I think what I love about your strategy too, and again, it's all platform specific. Because LinkedIn, the reason why I think this works so well is because it's not bullshit. And here's what I mean: is that I know when someone messages me on Facebook and says, "Hey, how you doing?" I know you're gonna pitch me something. Like I just know. What I love
Yeah.
about the strategy that we're doing on LinkedIn is we're not trying to be a what do they call it? Like a wolf in sheep's clothing. Like we're literally
Oh yeah,
saying,
no.
look, I'm just here to help. Like, are you
Right.
interested at all in having a conversation about this? Yes or no? No big deal. And
Yeah,
what we found is majority of the people that respond that are not interested, they always say thank you. Have you noticed that?
they do.
Majority of the
Yes.
people say, hey, thanks. This is actually really helpful. Thank you. But like, I'm good
Right.
right now. And they're super
Exactly.
nice about it.
Yeah.
Versus, again, other platforms, it's a lot different.
It is LinkedIn. I mean, if you're in B2B and you're not on LinkedIn, ugh, I would definitely figure it out or hire somebody to figure it out because the thing is that like it took me, which I know you're probably gonna ask me the question. I spent I spent I paid somebody 18 grand one time just to teach me stuff on how to do prospecting just on LinkedIn and a couple other platforms. And that was years ago, years ago. That my style is different than his style now. And like, but in the end, it's like people don't invest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like all this goes down to investing. It's like, listen, like where are you going to put your money next? And if you don't have money, where are you putting your time? And if you want to know something of how somebody's doing it, saying, hey, I'll work for you for free. So you either pay in time or you either pay in money. That's basically what it is, right? Like if I have somebody that I really want to do business with, that I'm like, man, I could really learn from somebody. I could really learn from this person. Then I'm going to say, you know what? Let's do this. Let's negotiate this deal. I'll do some of this stuff for you for free. And then you're going to learn so much stuff. Like I did that with somebody with cold email one time. I was like, listen, I'll go on the retreat. Let's do the retreat. I'll help you with whatever we can help with. But he's going to teach me on how to do a cold email because like you need to invest somewhere, right? Whether it's time or money.
No, I think I always, it's funny because I always say that as well. Like you either have time or you have money. And very rarely do you have both, right? And that's part of the reason why I hired you is because like I don't have time to DM this many
To
people.
DM, I know
I just
it's
don't have the time.
tedious work.
And I'm at a point in my career where I can afford to have somebody do it for me, right?
Right.
But here's the thing that nobody talks about is when I first started, I did all that shit. I did
You
all
have
the
to do it
posting,
yourself.
I did
Yep.
all the prospecting, I did
Everything.
all the clubhouse rooms, I did all the lives, I did all that. And now,
Mhm.
again, I get to a point where you can free up more time for more things. Again,
Exactly.
I'm going to get to some of this other stuff in a minute, but I'm actually curious now because you mentioned like investing. What are you looking to invest in now? Like you're at a certain level in your career where you're doing.
Right.
I know you're doing pretty well because again, I'm one of your clients, and I know you're
Right.
doing pretty well. But what is the next thing you're looking at investing?
So this is, and I ask this. I actually ask this question to myself every day. I don't. I think about this every day. I think about where's my biggest problem and where do I need to, and how am I solving this problem? And you have to be very serious about asking. I'm giving you like what I like the thinking process, and then I'll tell
Yeah.
you what I am investing in. So, whatever you're doing in business or in life, wherever your biggest problem is, you need to invest into somebody who has a solution for that, and or invest your time in saying, hey, I'll do work for you for free if you could help me solve this problem, right? But so like for me, we're investing right now. We're investing in consulting, coaching, as far as processes, CRM systems, new outbound strategies, copy, appointment setters. Like we're investing right now in just biz development. Period. So like we just invested probably for for the past 6 months we've invested about $60,000 back into the company already.
And you're
And then the
saying in
reason
people and processes, like so some of your
both,
systems.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So like right now we're doing heavy on commission based appointment setters. We're looking on recruiting, training, developing, and then of course we like a lot of clients, like a lot of our where we investing is programs that do both, where they're going to give you setters, they're going to give you consulting as well, and so it's like great. Let me see your process. How can we make you more money? Like so, as an example, one of them that I knew that I had a problem for 4 months. It was like 4 or 5 months. I already knew I was charging too low.
Mm-hmm.
I basically asked the company, and they paid. I was like, look, they're like, look, we're gonna give you some setters, a closer. We're gonna help you do this, and we're gonna help you with like a lot of the consulting problems you have with your company. I said, great. I already knew that we needed help with pricing. I knew I was too cheap. I already knew we were doing something like at a lower rate. Just by just by paying them $15,000, they gave me a whole new price plan and a whole new option on how to price model, like do my pricing model. That alone made me over,
Yeah.
way over $15,000
Yeah.
just in your pricing alone, which I already knew that I was like baseline basic pricing. And I'm like, man, I got to step up with the big boys. We need to, we need consulting. The same kind of stuff that we're doing for clients, like we do at a lower level. Some companies have 15, 20 people that are just focused on helping companies like mine and other companies doing that, right? So yeah, like that's where one of the places that we're investing in currently that we've invested in.
What about for you personally? Because like I think it's important obviously to invest in the business, but you are the business. So like,
Right.
is there anything that you're looking at investing for like for yourself?
Yeah. So like personally, like I had this conversation with somebody, a prospect, like probably about 30 days ago, and he asked me the same question. I said, well, I'll tell you this. I said, I'm gonna solve. I spent so much time with my personal development. I probably spent about 10 years investing in my personal development, and I explained to him. I said, listen, I like for me personally, I don't have any relationship problems. I don't have any personal like. I've gone through so much personal development at this point, where my time and money and energy needs to go to business development. And so like my personal development side, which I think is probably even more important. It's definitely more important depending on where you're at for business development, because personal development is going to stop you from even understanding business development,
Yeah.
right? So like personal development is huge. Like, or like, okay, mindset. Yes, if you don't have the right mindset to wake up in the morning, do what you have to do, get like the baseline stuff, you're not going to build a multi-million dollar company.
Yeah.
So we've done stuff with Eric Thomas. I've gone to trainings with John Maxwell, Grant Cardone. I've probably spent at least $500,000 in the past 10 years with my own personal development. And that's just mindset alone.
Yeah. Yeah. There's two. The reason I even bring it up is well, one, there's two major things I'm investing in this year, which is some of it's business, some of it's more personal. But like one is a mentor of mine. He's a mindset coach for actually Kevin O'Leary. That is cool. His business partner. Like my mentor is his business partner and mindset coach. So anyway, he does these retreats. It's like super low key, 20 people max, out in Utah, and it's 3 days of. The best way to explain it is like, did you ever do Date with Destiny?
I've done at least UPW.
Okay, so then there's also like Landmark. So it's like a lot
I've
like
done Landmark. I've done Landmark 7 years ago. I did.
Okay, so it's Landmark on steroids. So like I did again, he's my mentor, so I talk to him all the time, and literally do the most profound thing. Again, I did this like a year ago, which led me to where I am now. Actually, the reason why I call my company Elevated is because it's based off 5 laws. Like one of them, for example, is like you are the source. The only time that exists is now. Like that, those principles came from my mentor. But anyway, he's doing a retreat soon. That's 3 days of just like, let's go down to the basement. Let's see all the demons you got been buried down here, and let's
those are the best.
Just see what's
up.
Those
are the best, dude.
And the reason why I'm doing that, because again, I'm somebody that literally why clients come to me is like to help them uncover those things. And the reason why I'm investing in doing that is because I realize that in order for me, our next like benchmark major milestones, and just so you know how the podcast, like I do the podcast, is that I try to create a podcast where I would have heard when I first got started. Honest, open conversation about like how this shit works. And so anyway, our next major milestone is 100K month. We have yet to hit 100K month. And so I think the closest we've done is like 45 or 50, but we've never touched 100. And so I was like, I know there's systems and things like that that'll get us to 100, but I also know that part of it is me. Like there's something that I am not seeing, and there's some limiting things that I have that it's not getting me to that level.
Right.
And also how I even figured this out was that there was a certain kind of client that I wanted. It's somebody that I know, so I won't say his name, but I was like, that's the kind of client that I want to work with.
Right.
And then I had a friend was like, well, why can't you work with him like now? And I'm like, I don't know if I'm there like yet in terms of like, how they would see me. And then immediately when I said that out loud, I was like, ooh, I got some shit. I think that I gotta, I gotta get out of there because it's not real. You know what I mean? And the other thing is I'm doing Genius Network with Joe Polish in November, which is his annual event because it's like all 7-figure entrepreneurs and that's they have some mindset, but a lot of it is just being around those people, which then brings me to this point, which is that I always knew I wanted to be a 7-figure entrepreneur. And I knew it was possible. But the moment that I was like, fuck it, was I went to a cocktail hour at Genius Network, and I was around some people that I consider like amazing. Like Robert Cialdini was there. He's a part of Genius Network. I don't know if he is anymore. He was at one point. Russell Brunson obviously was a part of Genius Network. But I met Benjamin Hardy, Dan Sullivan, like the greats of the greats in terms of like digital entrepreneur and marketing. Nice. I got to meet with them. Jimmy Quick was there. And I talked to them, and I was like, oh, I am no different than these motherfuckers. No, like maybe I was like, oh, I can do this. And so anyway, that's the reason why I'm going to that event, is to be around those people. Because I think that, again, the reason why I brought this up is because we have
power, especially when used. And you're 100% right. Like you just being around them, it's just like, like the level of thinking that you have. Like, and for me, I'm sorry I cut you off. I just wanted to kind of just shoot this out, is because this is why. So like what I was kind of getting at is making sure you're asking yourself the right questions of what you need solved. And that's one of the hardest things just to do alone, is to say, hey, some people, like, it is, you don't even know that you know that you have a problem. That's where the biggest problem lies, right? The biggest problem lies the problem that you don't even know about, right? And so it's like uncovering that problem. And that's why I ask myself every day, hey, what is going to be the real transformation? What is and if you literally move the needle every day a little bit on something, I guarantee 6 to 12 months, completely different life, completely different way of thinking. If you take the conscious action, and I say conscious because people are working subconsciously constantly. They're working subconsciously. They're doing the same things. It's easy. Conscious thinkers are thinking with only the 10% of the brain of the now of, wait, hold on, I got to do this different. I can't stay the same. What do I got to do? What are the new habits I have to create? And asking yourself the right questions, because if you ask yourself these questions every day, those answers will appear. But a lot of times people don't want to face those things because it's scary. It costs money. It costs energy. It changes who you are. It changes the people around you. It does everything. But that's what you want. But getting to the destination and creating that is where it's like, hey, like Tony Robbins says, the desire has to be there. Like you have to have that desire. You have to have that willingness to change. And if not, you're just gonna just keep doing the same thing over and over again.
I think that's why too. Like I have a natural inclination, I gravitate towards suffering, and so like when my mentor was like, "Hey, I'm doing this 3-day let's go down to the deep end." I'm like, I'm in. Like I mean,
dude,
I'm gonna
it's the best for you, dude.
Dude, 100%. But also, I think that because one of the things that's like incredibly important is that I realize that most people, to your point, is to do the work. Like I have a similar question I ask myself over morning. I have a journal, and every morning I ask, "What am I avoiding?" There's always something, and I don't care. Listen, there's some fucking guru out there that's telling you like they don't avoid shit. They're lying. And because I got this from Dan Sullivan. He owns Strategic Coach, and he says he starts his morning off writing out, "What am I avoiding?" It's either a hard conversation that you need to have with a friend, maybe, or for me, like I got one of the worst things I suck at. I probably have way more money if I actually did this, but I suck at responding to you guys. Like Jigs will hit me up 15 times. I ignore him. And it's like, okay, so I need to tackle that first because that's what I'm avoiding, and that's going to move the needle, right? It's like actually answering those things are going to make me money, and most people don't think like that, which is I think is kind of interesting. But in terms of like the going back to how you got started, how in the world, what was your first business? Like, was this your first business?
No, dude, this is probably like I don't even know what number. Let's just say 6. But like the thing is like people start businesses because they want to start a business, and then they figure out what business really is as you go through business.
Yeah.
Which is that's how you're supposed to, like, unless you're like like a Donald Trump and you have like businesses and your family, it's already embedded with your family and what you do. But 95% of people, like, people are living paycheck to paycheck. They're working at a job. They're trying to make ends meet. And so you don't even understand business. Like, you understand what a business is. You like the idea of a business, but you don't know you don't even know what business is until you really do business, right? So yeah, like my first business, like I'll tell you, the first successful business that I had was in network marketing. Network marketing is actually one of the best, like that. I was a part of a company that taught me sales, development, mindset. That's where I learned mindset, and that's where I learned sales, and to get uncomfortable and to become somebody different, and to do all that, because network marketing has a lot of training platforms that you'll never get in any other company. Like, and if you don't, like, this was before the internet was even like big. I know I kind of look a little young, but I'm almost 40. So like, this was when I was 26, I started that company. And I started with that company, and it's like you have a business, like it's a business within a business, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like my first company I was making like $10,000 a month at that time, and I was like thought I was like balling out of control, crushing it, dude. Checks were gonna come in every single month. We're great. This is amazing. Like, it's this kind of like, adolescent mindset of like not understanding how to really run a company. It is expected, So.
Well, it's funny too, because I think I don't know if you probably didn't see it, but I changed. We had like a company to just talk about like Elevated and what we were trying to do, and I purposely changed my bio to say helping you get to the first 5K, like for the academy. And the reason why is the first 5K is the hardest, and consistently 5K. It's the hardest. Yeah. Like that's the hardest part, is the building the system, figuring out the consistency of it. And so many people were talking about 10K this, 10K that. The truth is, like, and granted, I was in corporate before I became an entrepreneur, and I was making, I was making 6 figures, and like you don't realize, especially I was 27, like I was a VP at 27,
right,
bro. I
Yeah.
had no idea what I was doing.
Right. Well,
And then
they saw tenacity in you. You have drive. You're coachable. That's what companies want, and
yeah.
they'll tag you with VP. They'll tag you with whatever, like even any company does these kind of, well, not any company, but some of the, newer companies will do
Well,
this.
my company was, you could argue, like I got a lot of benefit from that company. But they were like, looking back, I'm like, why the hell did they make me like the head sales guy? I was doing trainings every single week, which that prepared me for what I do now. Because now
Right.
I do that now, right? So,
Yeah.
but going back to like your stuff, let me ask you this, and this is going to be a weird question, and just know that your client's probably not going to listen to this. So, do you love what you do every day? Like, is this going to be your last business? Is this the
Oh God,
business?
no. No, my business, this business that I'm setting up is to build out my brand and my company. So my marketing, it's like I call it the Gary Vaynerchuk effect.
Mm,
This is build the marketing company because it's the machine that produces revenue, right? Without marketing, you have no sales, right? So marketing always first. Build the marketing machine to build out whatever you want to do in the future, right?
mm-hmm.
So right now we're building out a whole team of people that could produce revenue for our company and of course other companies.
Yeah.
And then now once you have the machine, right? It's like do the things you don't want to do in order to get the things that you want to really create. I love marketing because it creates the platform for people to understand who you are, right? And there's so many forms of marketing, right? The outbound prospecting, there's digital ad marketing, there's PR, there's all this different types of marketing. But like the stuff that we do is more for the baseline to get into market. Then there's organic, and then there's all this other stuff. So, but yeah, like I mean, I'm building the company because it produces revenue. That's the purpose of it, right? And then the
Yeah.
purpose for it long term is to build my mentorship program, and then of every other business that I'm doing. So I have my daily. It's called yourdailymentor.io. It's a daily mentorship program because the thing that I really want to do is speak and do all this stuff and build companies. I like to build companies and I like to start things, and I'm a very idealistic person. Like I like to create things and do things, and yeah, so that's what
Well,
the
that's
company's
also
gonna do.
why like I like have the offers that I do now is because I love building offers,
I
and I don't want
love
to just
that.
work on
Yeah,
one
it's fun.
offer.
It's exciting.
Like,
It is exciting.
so are you gonna have? So then the end goal for you is it to have like basically similar to what we have at Elevate, right? Where you have the mentorship to help you get to this point, and then the big one is like working with major
Right.
big time entrepreneurs.
Yes,
That's the
exactly.
mission, dude.
Yep.
I think that because then again, I love it because you have the challenge every day of working with a
Oh
high
man.
level, but then you're
Right.
giving back, like you're clearing the path, as we say.
Exactly. Yeah, like we'll do the startups too. The startup community, like whatever you want to call startup. There's companies doing millions that are still in startup, right? I'm
Yeah.
talking about people who's starting a company, right? Let's just be clear because a lot of people don't understand what a startup is.
Yeah.
So there's the people who are just starting a company to start building revenue. So those people, they need to do sweat equity, right? They need to educate and build revenue. And if you have funds, then of course, put money in where it's most important, which is marketing. It has nothing to do with like I don't know, like for me, like the way that we do things is different. I was taught a certain way. These people are doing millions of dollars a year, multiple like double figure million dollars a year. And he's like, look, like you don't really need a website. You just need a video that explains your offer to start selling into the market. Talk to 20, 30, 40, 150 people per day on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and say, hey, I'm helping companies do X, Y, Z, and we're doing this in about 6 months. Is this something that you'd be open to learning more about? Yes. Okay, great. Here's a video, and I send them the video. This is how I started my company. And we were just doing LinkedIn only, marketing, prospecting. We'll prospect for you on LinkedIn. We were doing like, I don't know, $700 a month. Here, this is what we do. Great. Is this something that you're interested in doing? Yeah, great. Here's a calendar. Set a calendar and start building up your client base pipeline. Start building, generating revenue, taking that revenue, not putting it into lifestyle,
Yeah.
putting it back into the machine that's feeding you, which is another problem. people want to take all this money and they want to live this beautiful lifestyle. And it's like, dude, you want to build a company. You're not trying to, you got to build the company. Put the money. How much money do you have for the company to grow the company to start making the like real deal money, and investing it back into the company. Which
I always say marketing ruins everything, and marketers have completely ruined in a lot of ways. Not completely ruined. Has put a weird spin on entrepreneurship, and we're doing a little bit of a test with the academy right now, Philip, and it's kind of interesting in that our marketing tactic now is we're a community that you're going to do the work. It's no fast. You're not going to hit your goal in 3 months, maybe not even 6 months. We're in it for the long haul because our spin is this, right? We want to find what you love doing and then monetize it. Versus what's the thing we can make money off today and then long. So it's a little bit of the reverse, kind of what you're doing. And there's no wrong way, right? But what I found is like perfect example is I have this client that I've worked with, and normally it's like when you go to a program, you gotta fit this mold. Here's the cookie cutter. You gotta fit into this. Right. But what happens if they don't want? So for me, it's building coaches. What happens if you don't want to be a coach? So we found this recently with one of our clients. It just didn't fit with her, and so you have two options. Either A, you go, okay, well, thank you for all the money you just gave me, and good luck to you. Or you help them find the path for them. Well, it turns out this person is more of a low ticket, mass influence kind of a person, and now she's never been happier. Like, and by the way, she's not crushing it in terms of money. By the way, she's not there yet, but she will.
Right?
She's happy.
Sees the path. Yeah.
Yes. So that's better. So that's why I think we're gonna try it and we'll see what happens. But it's like the anti-marketing. Like, look, this program
I do the
will
same
suck.
thing though. I do the same thing. I was just on a call before this, and I said, listen, what you're gonna get from me is the opposite of what other people are going to tell you. They're going to sell you on a dream. They're going to sell you on expectation. They're going to sell you on things that they don't even know what you need yet. They have no idea. They're selling you on services instead of process to get you to the end result. And they're not transparent with you. The problem with marketers is they're not transparent with their clients. They don't create trust. They don't create that transparency and realistic expectation. And I always say, listen, I want to give you realistic expectation. So when we go over it, you're like, oh my God, great. That's what you have to do. But no, marketers, we're going to get you 30 appointments a month and we're going to do this. Like, dude, come on, dude.
Well, it's because historically, and this is the reason why, and salespeople also have some blame in this too. Historically, in a corporation, marketing and sales are not a part of the fulfillment process or the client retention process. Historically, they're separate. So what happens is, as marketers, we tend to do this thing where it's like we just want to get them in the door. But one of the things, again, by the way, I've made this mistake. I think we should be very clear. I've screwed this up, so that's why I do this now. Where just like you, I had a sales call yesterday that you booked for me. Thank you. And I told him, I go, you're not going to see any results for 90 days. Don't even plan on it. I'm like, here's the stuff, the deliverables you're going to get. Here's the outcomes in terms of like what we're going to give you, but don't expect to see any major results for 90 days. And what's going to happen is in some of our clients, like, one of our mutual friends and clients, Doug, he just got this is his third month with us, and we've only generated 4 leads, 2 of which went to a sales call. But here's the thing though, and that sounds low, but here's the thing. None of them he had to talk to. He didn't have to DM any of them. They literally just watched the people's content, jumped to the DM. So it took us 3 months to ramp up his brand awareness to get him to the point where now they know how to work with him. And so now it's happening on autopilot. Now that's going to start stacking. Well, but if I would have jumped in first and said, because again, that's how that's our organic marketing works. It's like me and my friend Tim, he's a branding coach. And same thing we always tell other clients. I go, sales will get you money now. Marketing gets you money next quarter, but branding, and that's kind of what we do more than marketing is branding. Branding will get you money next year.
They will.
But the thing is, though, that money, though, you can, because the cool thing about marketing, and tell me if I'm wrong, because again, I'm not right about things a lot, but the cool thing about branding and marketing, if done well in the organic sense, if you out-free your competition and you give value, the longer you wait to ask for a pitch, the more you can ask for. Like if I'm giving you value after value, and then it's your decision to come to me, I can charge more because I just gave you 6 months. Perfect example is like my YouTube channel. So I had somebody that recently, became a client that came from YouTube. He spent 3 months watching every single piece of content. So 3 months, 3 times 4 is 12. He's watched 12 videos. Each video is about 10, around 10 minutes long. Okay. An hour and 20 minutes he spent with me. So by the time we got to the sales call, he was like, Raylan, I know what you do. I know who you are. I get it. Where do I sign? And that is how good marketing should work.
Especially organic. Organic, that's organic marketing, because if you have a client, if you have somebody come to you from organic, they're already ready to go 50 to 70% of the time. You've already created trust with them. They know that you know what you're talking about. You've already serviced them in many ways that you won't even know yet because of the content and of course the value. So, but that's what organic marketing does. But organic marketing, it takes time. It takes longer to ramp up organic marketing, right? Organic marketing, you have to create content. You have to, have the videos. You have to, all the things that you have to do for organic marketing, and then push to an audiences, making sure everything is going to an audience, whether it's your audience or using somebody else's audience. Versus, outbound prospecting, it's just a different style. But of course, everybody wants organic. Organic is the best because, it depends on where you're at, right? Like if you're a brand new person and you don't have sales yet, for me, prospecting is great because it brings in calls immediately. Now, is it going to take you longer to close them? Probably. Is it going to take you more understanding on your offer and how to close? They don't know you yet. So it's closing cold business and closing organic business, two separate deals, right?
But you need both. To your point, again, if we're being super honest about even how I got started, was I did the same thing as you. So the first 10 clients I have came because, now granted, I did a little bit of mixture because I was on social audio at the time, but I would drive them to a DM. And then from the DM, I book a sales call. So that was a really easy funnel. I had literally, I'm not bullshitting when I tell you, I didn't have a website until like a year ago.
That's exactly. You don't
because I didn't need it.
You don't need it. You just need a video on the offer, screen record with a presentation deck, put that together, whether it takes you a day or 7 days, however long it takes you to do it, put a timeline on it, get it done, and then start prospecting. That's it.
Yeah. And one of the things that I like you mentioned too about the video thing is that, because also too, yes, I know, Philip, I got to record it and send it to you because we got to do this. But one of the things is you can also combine really awesome marketing with the outbound strategy. And so here's, cool stuff. Dude, here's my plan and what, you and I are going to do together. And I think this is really, I think I'm going to tell you what we're going to plan to do. And then we'll come back to the podcast again and we'll talk about the results. So here's the plan. So obviously first one was your idea. It's not mine. I had planned on doing it, but sometimes that's why you need a coach. Because Philip, just for the listeners, you're not just a service provider for me. You're a coach. You tell me what's up, and hey, you need to be looking out for this, whatever. So that's why I think you're super
Facebook
unique
group.
in that
How's
way.
that going? We haven't talked about that.
Terrible. Not good. I hate it.
Really?
It's not good. Yeah.
You don't like it?
Yeah. Well, it's okay. So 2 reasons, right? Now, granted, everybody's different. And I think for some people, Facebook groups are outstanding. Here's why it's not working for us. Number one, for whatever reason, Facebook driving DMs to the Facebook group, I thought would be an easier thing. It's not working. I think we're getting maybe 2 new people in the group a week. So I think maybe the copy's wrong. I don't know. Something's not working there. And on top of that, though, groups in general, they're not easy to get lots of engagement. So I'm testing something now.
Right. You're 100% right.
So it's a little difficult, right? Now, granted,
it's so hard to get engagement, period, because of the attention it's being. I mean, dude, people's attention are being left and right. I mean, even on the calls, there's 1,000 text messages. For people to even engage in something, it has to be high level, depth for them to really love it.
And not to mention, too, I am one of probably 30 groups they're part of. And people are starting to get petrified of groups because they know that as soon as you're in a group, you're going to get 10,000 DMs. And so one of the things that we're thinking about doing now, now granted, I promised you and my team that we would commit to at least 90 days of the Facebook group. So we're going to continue to run it, and hopefully that changes. But I will say it did produce, I think we're about 5 people that went to the email list. None of them has converted into a sales call yet. No, one has come to the a workshop, so that's good. Okay. But it's not as. But
we're working on it too. That's the thing, is that's not even our strength either. I have a coach that coaches us on it, and they're doing $500K a month, with their group, dude. Like, but they have a full strategy. It's like it's
They have the
very in
strategy. I
depth.
guarantee they probably have moderators to make sure that
They
the
do.
communication's there. Like, there's just so much, and
There's so much. I
I don't
know.
have the team for that. And so one thing that I think we're going to change again, I'm going to give it, something could happen in the next
Right.
like month. That I changed my mind, but I think the new strategy. And by the way, I've been promoting the hell out of it. Every single call to action on my YouTube is to go to the Facebook group. Every single
Mm,
freebie that I have is to go to the Facebook group. And it's
mm.
this really cool last page of like the ebook we have out, the offer builder is like it says in big letters. I bet you're waiting on a pitch. No pitch, just a free community.
Just a free.
And
Oh, that's sweet. I like that.
and
I like
so,
that.
but anyway, so again, it's not. We've gotten some people in that way, but again, it hasn't converted. So my plan is though is to take them off platform and go because I have Slack and just open up a free Slack community because then
Ooh.
I'm there anyway with my current like audience or whatever, and so it's building. But anyway, so my plan is I'm gonna create a video. So for those that are listening, I'm gonna take you through the whole process. You can literally do this on your own. You don't even have
Yeah.
to pay me and Philip to do this. So the DM comes out. What I want to do actually is that video we talked about comes before the
The
hey
call.
book a
Yeah.
call.
We're doing that with like half of our clients right now.
Perfect. So then it'd be like, hey, that way it's like guaranteed because there has been some that come to the call and they're like, what do you even do?
What are we
What is it?
doing? Right.
And I'm like, okay, it's a waste of my time and yours. So then that comes that. Now one thing we already do is once they book a call, I have an automatic email going out and saying you probably booked the call because of these reasons. And so I really hit the pain points on that email.
Oh, perfect.
That's actually been working pretty well actually. And then from there though, it's this is the hard part. I got to figure out the system to it. But if it's 2 days out, because you guys are really good at getting people to book like sooner rather than later. So if it's 2 days out, they'll be sent an email and an embedded YouTube video that I'm going to
With
do
content.
with
Okay.
content about content marketing.
Okay.
And then that will give me the ability to get them to subscribe. Because if they subscribe, now I have them for as long as they're still a subscriber, right?
Right.
And then we can kind of consistently foster that. Now,
Right.
the sales call is over now, right? And let's say they're like, most of the people we talk to, obviously, on the outbound strategy, is like, I need to think about it, which I don't pressure anybody. Like, I know that there's like,
Right.
and I'm a come from a sales background. And for me, it's like, I have just found that I want you to come to me and go, I'm fucking stoked. And if you're not
Exactly.
stoked, I'm not going to push it, right?
Right.
Now, if it's a limiting belief kind of thing, I'll push that.
We'll
But
push
if
it,
you're
right,
not
exactly.
fucking stoked about it, then I fucked
Right.
something up from the beginning and I'm not going to, hound on it.
I tell clients on the call, dude, I'm like, sometimes I'm like, listen, if you're not excited about working together, like this relationship won't work. Like
Yeah.
I want to work with you to make this happen. And if I feel like I'm just like we're just doing something and we're not meeting expectations and you're treating me like this is some kind of corporate event here, then like corporate deal, this is not how I do business, right?
No.
Like
No.
I have a new client and his expectation is very high. One little mistake, what's this? What's that? What's this?
Yep.
Let's get on a call. Let's scratch what you think is happening, and everybody has their thing,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm all for that. Like I don't, I just like I had another guy. I was like, listen, if you don't really feel like working with us, like I don't want to work with you. You don't have to stay on the contract term. I don't want to wake up every day and I don't want to be on a call with somebody who's just like, like aggressive and
Yeah.
upset. Like
We
I'm sorry.
actually, and I think this is really important for people to know is that like at some point, now granted, I'm not going to lie, like there's some point when you're first building, like you got to just take those shitty clients. You just have to.
You do.
But once you don't have to anymore, like there's somebody in, well, how do I word this? There's somebody we're going to be firing. I'll just say that
Right.
soon. Because of
Yeah.
that reason. Because it's like,
For that reason.
if I have anxiety every time I get an email from you or a DM, like,
Right.
no, like I'm not interested in that. And and possibly, here's the thing though, it's all about ownership. And so this is where I'll say that I went wrong with this client. And by the way, who knows? Because also she does this thing where like she now is like in love with us, and so it may change. And sometimes those really tough clients like become
Yeah,
like your
they
best
do.
clients. But literally her month end is coming up in like a month, and so that call I'm gonna literally say like, look, I might fire you, and here's why. If we're gonna continue to work together, like
Right.
here's the thing, because again, what people don't realize, and this is also why I respect you, is that like there's no cookie cutter to what you and I do for clients.
Right.
So meaning there's gonna be a learning curve. I have to
There will
learn. We
be.
have to learn your brand, your tone of voice. Like we have to figure
Yes.
out who your avatar is, and all these. There's things that we have to
Right.
figure out together, and it's a
Yes.
teamwork effort. And if you don't do your part, and I don't do mine, things get screwed up. And so
They
again,
do.
for people that are listening, this is kind of like my biggest learning lesson is like I went in too aggressive, thinking that how fast I could do things for her, instead of, and this was like our first client or second client. So what I'm doing now is, like I said earlier, you don't look for any outcomes for 3 months. Like, just don't look. Don't worry about it. Like, you gotta trust me, and obviously you're gonna see the deliverables. But I don't want you
Right.
hitting me up every fucking week, being like,
Yeah.
"Where's
Like
this?"
where's right.
Like, trust the process.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And look, don't get me wrong. Like, if something, like, if we discuss something and it's not done, like, we got to talk about it, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
like, yeah, I mean, hey, we're not delivering on some of these things. Let me make up for it. Let me, like, let's do extra. Let's do this. But, like,
Well, this is
I
also
hate when
why I think majority of our clients like us, because what I end up doing is if we fuck something up, I say, hey, just so you know, if this doesn't get done, like again, deliverables are different than like outcomes, right? So like the
right,
deliverables, if I don't have that to you,
right,
and again, I told the client this just the other day, Peter from Australia. I said, look, dude, like because we were late on something by like 2 weeks. I said, look, if it doesn't get to you before your next payment, I'm gonna cancel your payment. He's
right.
like, oh shit, okay. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
because like we screwed up, so I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
we
charge you.
screwed up. Exactly. It's like it's our fault. Like or like you could do a free month in the future or whatever. Like that's basically a free month that you're talking about.
Yeah,
Like whatever. You know. Yeah, there's so much stuff you can do. You just be like, listen, I want to make it right, right? We're not perfect humans. Once you involve humans,
yeah,
you're going to involve problems in humans.
yeah,
And that's why, like, of course, when you're building a company, you have to have processes. You have to have, like, one thing that we're doing right now, we're building the infrastructure of our team so we can take on 5 to 10 more business, like 5 to 10 more. So if you want to get to 7 figures, you can't do the same thing that you're doing today. So
yeah.
you have to be changing what that is. Like, even for outreach, like everything, like deliverables for your team, who's going to be, like, okay, great. If we get 10 clients today, can we service them?
Yeah.
Right?
It's a hard question.
No. Okay. If you can't, then you got to hire the team, train them, and you got to put money towards that. And then you put money back into marketing to grow that because you have the team now to fulfill. So, like,
So the last question, then again, because I could talk to you for like 16 hours, and I think
right.
again our next one, I think we just don't put a time limit. But
Right.
what here's my question, because I'm actually and this is partly why I said that I was going to go to like some of those retreats and stuff to figure out what I actually want to do. Because how did you decide that your path to getting to where you want to be in terms of like what is your business goal, like financial, like what is that goal, your major milestone you're going after right now?
For this year or for when?
No, just in general. Like this is the goal that we're
Oh, I
striving for
mean,
the next like 5 years, 3 years, whatever.
I have this year planned out already. I don't have the next couple years because like I don't like of course like I have my idealistic version of what it's going to be. But like I like to plan things on strategy and what I know that we can do within a 12-month window. Like it's kind of like like because I've done pitch decks to VCs and I've done it when I had a software company
Yeah,
before this company, and that's how I did marketing for my other company. And I was like, man, I'm pretty good at doing this. I might as well start my own company and do
yeah,
marketing. And then I was like, I had an epiphany one day. I was like, I need to do a market. I just need to build a marketing company.
yeah,
Anyways, so what was I getting at? I was saying that the marketing, I don't like to plan too ahead as far as revenue because it can change very quickly. So like I definitely believe in like a 12 to 24 month runway as far as like where you're going. But like as far as like so to answer the question, I don't have the answer. The answer is going to be at least like we're going to do an MRR like by the third year we should be doing at least $1 million a month. Like that's
yeah.
what it should be.
So
Like
that's
that's
what like,
minimum.
and I think so. It's so fascinating to hear what like other entrepreneurs and the way that because you're a very system oriented guy. Hence the reason why the
Yeah.
type of company you have, versus I'm more like, I guess a dreamer. I don't know. Like it's
I
like
mean, a
my favorite.
million a month is 12 million a year. But
Yeah,
that's in monthly recurring revenue. Like,
yeah.
of course, like where will I have in the bank account? I'm just talking about the actual company.
Yeah,
Like,
no, same. So this is the way that I kind of look at it is that my big goal is 10 million a year. Now, what I do, it's a little bit different, and it's we'll see if in like 3 years, we'll check bank accounts in the business and see like who actually
Right.
made it.
I have a bet with people. I have bets with people. I already have one running right now. I said, dude, I'm gonna crush you in this. I already have the plan. He's on. He doesn't even have a plan. I'm like, you're gonna be paying for my. He's got a full trip. I got a full trip plan for me paid.
Yeah. So like again, it's a different perspective. And again, we'll see. But like my whole thing is I set and I don't look at it that often. Like I'm not looking at that major goal every day. What I do is I go, this is where we're gonna end up. Here's the vivid vision, as like Cameron Harold would say. Here's the vivid vision. This is the type of company I'm gonna have.
Yeah.
And then after that, I never look at it again. And then it's just about, because here's the thing is, I don't know how I'm gonna get there. Meaning, it could come from this way, it could come from this way, and to plan that specific for that long out, I think, which is kind of what you're saying, to plan that long out on the strategy of how I'm gonna get there, I don't know. So that's kind of like the big thing, like for me,
Yeah, I mean, if you like, I do everything in numbers because I mean, if you're talking about revenue, right? You're talking about numbers. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Great. If we have clients that are paying $2,000, $4,000 a month, $10,000 a month, how many do we need? How much outreach? It's all mathematical numbers. And then what's the plan in the implementation plan to get there? What does the infrastructure need to look like internally? What does the day-to-day look like that? Who's going to be leading it? Because it's not going to be me. Like in the future. So like, how are you building out the team? These are the things that I think about all day long. I'm saying, okay, great. Who's replacing me?
Yeah.
One thing when you're building a business, you're talking about who's replacing me in my business tomorrow. So where does Philip need to be replaced? Does Philip need to be replaced in sales? Does Philip need to be replaced in writing copy? Does Philip need to be replaced in this? And then who's that going to be? And how are you going to get there? Right.
Yeah, I think because again, this kind of brings me to like that final question I was talking about 10 final questions ago, which was like, again, I was mentioning, you don't know how it's going to happen. Like, so for example, for me to say that one offer that we have today, that's how we're going to make it to, $1 million a month. Oh, yeah. I don't know if that's true.
It's not going to be that, dude. You're going to have your offer in the next 6 months, dude. I'm telling you, it's going to be, you're going to have something different. I already know what like even me, our offer is clean, but I'm like, you know what, Phil? Like, you're still lowballing your offer, dude.
Yeah.
There's a better offer. There's a better solution you can provide to other people. What that is, how you're going to deliver it, all the specifics will to be determined.
Well, exactly. This is also what brings me to this, because I just had a meeting with my team about this, and I said, look, I said, like, there's a goal we have in terms of how many clients we're gonna have. I said, when we get there, we're gonna have to make a decision. And I don't know the answer to it yet. And here's the thing: doing something what you're doing, which is just get more team, like, and then you can fulfill more, or we just charge more and keep a core team. And there comes like that balance, and there is
it's a fair medium. Like you're about to go into it. There's definitely a fair medium. The thing is that like there's so many ways right now to build team without having to come out of pocket heavy.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of strategy right now that people can implement, that we're implementing right now, I'm like, man, like, hold on a second. I'm doing the numbers on everything, and I'm like, we could go way faster really quick. Like, I don't know why we haven't done this before. But like, I mean, obviously, like from where we were 6 months ago to where we're at today is already like 100% better than what we were doing. So I'm not upset at anything, but
yeah,
it's all good, dude. Like, like it's all part of process. Like as long as you're investing in yourself, changing what you're doing to grow, then you're on the way, right? So
yeah, I think that, like I said, the biggest thing for me is, and this is where the question came, because again, I was like, okay, we can go this way, or we can go that way. We can hire more people, or we can charge more, and then be that, like, because I know of people that have a really, really small team, but they charge like $200,000 to even talk to them, right? Kind of thing. Like, and so I am super, like, a mentor of mine, his name's Milton. He has a consulting agency, and it's only 3 people. And he works with some of the biggest brands. Like, one of his clients I know, like, pay him like 1.5 mil a year. And so that's one angle. And then I have the other angle, which is people that, like, I know that, like, have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 employees, and they're doing a lot of money. So what's cool about that is the point is you can get to it multitude of different ways. And it's just about, what do you want? And I think that's the golden question again. And that's where it's like, when I said we have that fork in the road, is what do you want? And the truth is, I don't know yet. And I think the more, even just having the people that I have, I'm like, I don't know if I want to bring on more people.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I would always push against it, because I'll tell you this. do if something happens to you tomorrow, will your company be
Yeah,
there
that's a
and
good
be able
question.
to survive, right? So you have to look at it as an asset instead of what you want to do, right? Like, so you can do those things. Like, you could build the big brand stuff and do all that work and charge $200,000 per client, but it's like you're still doing fulfillment yourself all the time. Do you
Yeah.
want, so now back to you, do you want to do that? Right? Do you want to have a business that way? Like, in asking yourself the right questions in order to produce the right
So then,
answer.
do you think? Okay, so then, last question, I promise. Do you
I
think
want to say
then?
one thing about big companies, really. Let me just
Yeah,
say
go ahead.
one last thing. So Grant Cardone talks about this all the time. He goes, "Okay, you want to build the biggest, you want to make all this money." He's like, "Okay, you have to think like the biggest companies in the world."
Yeah,
Okay, so if you think like the biggest companies in the world, you'll have what the biggest companies in the world have and have the time, all that. So, do the biggest companies in the world, do they operate in threes or four?
yeah,
The answer is no, right? So, the answer is they have a CEO, they have this, they have that, they have this, they have that. So, if you want if you don't have to, you could do the three
yeah.
person deal and do the 200Ks and have $1 million a year, whatever, like, but if something happens to you, right, then what? You see what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, I think that's an interesting balance, which comes to like the question, which was like, does Tony Robb? And then I guess he has like I
dude, he's
heard
got a
somewhere he has like
huge
a
team.
hundred. He has like 100 different companies. So in terms of like if the Tony Robbins is gone, does
Right.
the date with Destiny continue? Like, granted, he's not like so. That's like part of
But
it. It's
that's just
like
one vertical of resources for him. But yeah.
right. So that's where I'm going with this is that I think
Mm.
some I can set up some like I have two different offers. One of the offers I could set up and it doesn't have to it doesn't need me and it's already pretty much there. I really don't need to be a part of it.
Oh, good, great.
So like so that part would exist without me. And then Elevated Academy isn't built off of me. Like it's funny because on one angle I'm building these
You
companies.
have a lot of sharp people on your team, though, dude. You have a lot of great assets on your team. So
So it's funny
that's
because
that's
I'm
good.
actively making it not about me, but at the same time I'm like, I don't know if I want to big. So anyway, it's just something that,
It's
again,
it's a, it's something for
something
self
to think about.
discovery for you. Yeah, that's all. And whatever happens now or later, it's all good. And that's life. That's what's gonna happen. Everybody's like, oh, everybody puts so much expectation on themselves, and which it hinders people sometimes on growth because they feel like they have to be somewhere else. It's like, dude, you all like the journey is important too. Don't get me wrong. You have to be conscious in the present and what you're doing, but understand everything is going to be this like ups and downs and where you're going. Like you're not going to know everything. Everybody
Yeah,
thinks that everybody wants to be like Elon Musk. I know everything all the time. No, no,
yeah. Well,
no.
again, coming back to what do you want? The reason why I built the business the way that I did was because I wanted something that I could do the rest of my life. Like I
There you go.
honestly have, and I'm fortunate. And this is kind of partly what we're trying to help people with is that I think a
Right.
lot of people today are like, I just want to make money, which is fine, nothing wrong with that. But for me and the people that we work with is we want to build something that like we can do for the rest of our life and love it. Like we
Yeah,
have this,
definitely,
this
man.
client. He's a phenomenal writer. He's literally like almost spoken word, and I'll send you some of his stuff, dude. He's one of my favorite
Cool.
clients. But I can see him writing every single day for the rest of his life, writing books, speaking on stages, and that's what he wants to do the rest of his life. So the
Perfect.
business came around that, right? Versus again, there's some people that I know, and again, nothing wrong with it. Their whole intention is to sell the business one day. And I'm like, I have no intention. Again, I'm also fucking 32, so who knows? But for me, I'm
Right.
like, I don't want to start anything else. Like, this is all I want to do.
Yeah.
Like, if that's fine, that's cool.
Well, then that's perfect, dude. That's great. And then like just like anything else, like when I was 27, I was like, this is what I want to do forever. Like you don't, in the end, I don't even say that anymore. I never say never anymore because now I don't even know what's gonna happen next. Tomorrow, everything might change, and
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, you know what? I just don't want to, like so you don't know. Yeah, you have an idea of what it's supposed to be, but times change, you change, especially when you're doing personal development. Like you're changing, you're releasing your limiting beliefs, you're becoming somebody who you knew, like feeling unstoppable with a lot of the things that you can do. Your mindset's shifting. You might want to take on a bigger giant, like Elon as an example, because people love him. I love speaking about him because he's a prime example. He started PayPal, started his own startup. Like he didn't know he was going to be doing Tesla. Now he didn't know
yeah,
any of those things. He could have said, you know what, this is what I'm going to do forever. He doesn't know that. Nobody knows that answer to that question. You know.
Yeah. Anyway, Philip, this was fun, man. Like I said,
Yeah,
you're one of
buddy.
those people I can literally talk to like forever.
Yeah, we could
Also,
talk for a long time.
yeah, dude. Yeah. We gotta get together soon. As
Yeah, for
always,
sure.
man, I appreciate you.